Welcome to the Blackwell Archives. I do not remember the road that led me to Hollowvale. Only the mist, the sound of gravel under the wheels, and the way the headlights seemed to swallow the fog instead of cutting through it. Somewhere beyond the valley, the library waited, a place spoken of only in the circles of those who collect forbidden manuscripts. Dr. Samuel Harrow had told me about it in passing years ago before his sudden disappearance. He called it the Hollowvale Repository, a building that predated the village itself, built atop a forgotten monastery. According to his notes, the library contained works that refused to be catalogued, books that appeared, rearranged, or simply vanished. I arrived at dusk. The building stood like a mausoleum for thoughts, tall, windowless, its stone facade eaten by ivy and time. A rusted plaque near the door read simply, "The Blackwell Archives, subsection H." The door yielded with a reluctant groan. The air inside was thick and dry, like old paper left too long in the sun. Rows of shelves stretched into a dim horizon, each packed with spines too faded to read. Somewhere deeper within, a candle flickered, or perhaps a reflection. "Hello?" My voice vanished into the silence. That was when I heard it, the faint rustle of pages turning, though the air was perfectly still. The librarian appeared not long after. I say appeared, because I did not see him enter. He was simply there, standing at the end of the aisle, half shrouded in the amber glow of a desk lamp. His hair was colorless, his suit threadbare but immaculate, and his eyes reflected the same yellow hue as the lamp behind him. "You've come to read," he said. It wasn't a question. I was told the archives held volumes that couldn't be found anywhere else. A smile ghosted across his lips, brief, mechanical. "They cannot be found," he corrected. "They must be chosen." I tried to explain that I was a researcher, that I had come in search of Dr. Harrow's manuscripts, but he was already walking away, the hem of his coat whispering against the floor. I followed, past tables covered in dust, past catalog cards yellowed into parchment. He stopped at a narrow corridor marked with a metal sign, Section 0, Private Access. From a ring at his belt, he selected a single iron key. As the lock turned, the lights dimmed, or perhaps the shadows thickened. Inside was not a room, but a stairwell descending into darkness. There is a quality to silence underground that is unlike silence above. It presses inward, as though the air itself listens. Our footsteps echoed down the steps, though after a while, I realized the echo did not match our pace. At the bottom, the librarian produced a small oil lamp. The walls were lined with narrow drawers, each labeled with a number that seemed to shift when I wasn't looking directly at them. "This is where we keep the unindexed," he said. "Books that write themselves, books that refuse transcription, and those that remember." He handed me the lamp. "Find the one that calls to you." I don't know how long I wandered. The air was dense with the scent of parchment and something faintly metallic. Drawers creaked softly as I passed, as if exhaling. One of them bore a label I could almost read. Harrow, S. Log, 23. Inside lay a single book, bound in dark green leather. The title was pressed into the cover in a language I didn't recognize, but the initials SH gleamed faintly beneath. I opened it. The first page was blank. The second held only a date, June 12, 1894. On the third, handwriting began to form as I watched, each letter fading in like breath on glass. "If you are reading this, it means the librarian has found another." The words continued, matching the rhythm of my heartbeat. "He keeps the ones who seek knowledge for the wrong reasons. He offers them choice, but the choice is illusion. The book you hold is mine, and soon it will be yours." I looked up. The librarian was gone. I tried to retrace my steps, but the corridor had changed. The drawers no longer lined the walls. Instead, shelves rose into impossible heights, filled with books identical to the one in my hands. Their spines pulsed faintly, like breathing. Then I noticed the whispering. It wasn't from the air or from distant rooms. It came from the books themselves. Each one spoke in a low murmur, an unbroken litany of names. When I turned the lamp toward the nearest shelf, I saw that each spine bore a person's name, hundreds of them. Some had dates, others were unfinished. On the last shelf, illuminated by the trembling light, was a single empty space. A small brass tag beneath it read, "Reserved." The lamp flickered. My own name began to etch itself into the tag. I ran. The corridors twisted in directions that made no architectural sense. At times I could see the faint glow of daylight ahead, but when I reached it, it was always the same reading table, the same open book waiting for me. The text had changed again. Every librarian was once a reader. Every reader leaves something behind. I slammed the book shut. The air shuddered as if the whole place had taken a breath. Then from somewhere deep within the archive, the sound of footsteps, hundreds of them, began to rise. I reached the staircase. The librarian waited at the top, lamp in hand, smiling faintly. "Did it speak to you?" he asked. I could not answer. The book in my hands pulsed with a slow, rhythmic glow. He nodded as though satisfied. "Then it has chosen." He extended his hand, palm up, and I placed the book there. When he closed it, the faint light within it vanished. "You may go," he said, "but remember what you read." I stumbled out into the night air, lungs burning. The door closed behind me with a sound that echoed too long, like the turning of a vast lock. When I reached my car, the fog had lifted. For a moment, I thought it had all been some fever dream, until I saw the passenger seat. There, resting atop my bag, lay the green-bound book. Its cover now bore my own initials. Weeks later, the dreams began. Always the same. The endless shelves, the whispering of pages, the faint light of an oil lamp moving somewhere beyond sight. Sometimes when I wake, I can still smell the dust and the faint trace of old paper. This morning, there was something else. A folded note on my desk, written in precise looping hand. "Your next volume awaits." Section B.